Morning. My name is Mary Waldron, and I'm the Executive Director at Old Colony Planning Council. And within the office with me today, Paul Romano, Lori Muncy, and Don Sullivan. Various roles with grants, but as well as with economic development and comprehensive planning. We represent 17 communities within Southeastern Mass. And today we are working with the Federal Funds and Infrastructure Office, particularly on the Municipal Technical Assistance Program. And with online today is Rafi Friedman Gertzpan. She is the Associate Director at the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Federal Funds and Infrastructure Office. I got to say that slower because it's very hard to say with all the, but at the Executive Office of Administration and Finance. Rafi is a dedicated champion of human rights as well as the LGBTQ and gender equity policy expert. Rafi spent over a decade in Washington, D.C. working for the federal government and nonprofit advocacy programs. And she is the former principal of Deputy Director of Public Engagement at the United States Department of Transportation, appointed by President Biden. With that, I know that there's we will share your bio on our website, Rafi, but with that, I would like to turn this over to you. And then with Paul Romano as our guide in working our way through your PowerPoint presentation today. So thank you, Rafi, for being here today.
Hey, thank you so much, Mary and Paul and the whole team at OCPC. It's so great to be with you all. As Mary mentioned, my name is Rafi Friedman Gertzpan. I'm the Associate Director of the Federal Funds and Infrastructure Office at the Executive Office of Administration and Finance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts government. So a lot to say in one line, but very happy to be with you all. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about our municipal and technical assistance programs that we have, and in particular, a grant program that we would love folks to know about as we have rolled it out this past fall, but we would love to continue to see applications come in. And Mary and her team were so gracious to have me come and speak to you all in the Old Colony area, and we definitely are interested in seeing applications come in from your communities. So if we can go to the next slide, just to give some grounding about our office. Our office was created by Governor Healy through Executive Order number 624, and we were tasked with implementing a whole of government approach when it comes to federal funding opportunities for communities here in the Commonwealth. One of the key things that we do is identify and track federal funding opportunities and ensure that we are also tracking which Massachusetts communities apply for federal opportunities, so they can be big and small. We lead bi-weekly meetings with interagency colleagues on a platform we call the Advisory Council on Federal Funds and Infrastructure. So that allows for coordination with our sister agencies to understand the opportunities that they see from their perspective, but also if they're aware if communities are applying for certain opportunities. And then, of course, providing us with information if communities should be applying for certain opportunities. So it's a great inter-state agency collaborative initiative to make sure that we are really tracking those opportunities for communities like the ones you all represent. We also lead the Massachusetts Federal Funds Partnership, and we meet with local communities, especially local government representatives, regarding their applications for federal funding. And that partnership meets once a month. We will be happy to send through Mary information about signing up for those meetings. It's a webinar just like this, but interactive, where we usually have a presentation on a certain topic. We're informing about notice of opportunities of funding coming from Washington, D.C., and then really just a question answer forum for communities to ask us questions, to raise issues that should be brought to our attention, and just make sure there's good communication happening from the state to the local level. And lastly, and I'll get into this in a second, we were authorized to implement the federal match legislation known as Chapter 214, the Acts of 2024. While I'm not going to talk about our matching program per se, we do have a matching program that we administer. So for communities that need to meet a local match for federal opportunity requirements, we are able to work with communities on that. We can go to the next slide, please. That same act provided an opportunity for our office to provide direct technical assistance funds to communities as well as regional planning agencies. And so, again, just to give some broader context to this act, the act itself is called to provide for competitiveness and infrastructure investments in Massachusetts. So the idea that the legislature and the governor were really thinking about when passing this legislation was to make sure that Massachusetts communities were really in a pre-positioned state to be in a competitive sort of advantage, if you will, when it comes to federal dollars. And we know so much of that is about capacity. They're great organizations such as OCPC and other RPAs that provide technical assistance and really work with communities like yours to help you get ready for opportunities like that. But the legislature smartly in 2024 realized that we still need even more capacity assistance in the form of funding. And so that's where we came up with two programs. The first that I'm going to talk about is the Municipal and Tribal Technical Assistance Program, MTTA, and that's really what this conversation's geared toward. But then Mary and Paul and the folks at OCPC are aware of our second one called Technical Assistance Grant Program for Regional Planning Agencies, or TARPA. And that's another program that we have. So think of them as twins, as you will, two arms to the same body that we are providing technical assistance funds. So I'm going to focus first on, next slide, please, on the Municipal and Tribal Technical Assistance Program. This is a competitive direct funding program for municipalities, tribal governments, regional planning agencies can apply, and certain other qualified entities. For example, a water district, a regional school district, and community development corporations may apply to this program. There is no funding cap for this program. Decisions are made on a rolling basis, but it is kind of first come, first serve. And to be very clear, with both programs, they are authorized through the end of fiscal year 2027, or to give folks a hard date, June 30th, 2027. And for this program, we have $2.5 million that we can disperse in 2 years. So we can cover through this program services such as, but certainly not necessarily limited to, tax assistance, for example, for direct pay with the IRS, legal assistance, grant writing, project scoping, financial analysis, planning and feasibility studies, demonstration activities, and my personal favorite coming from my time during service in federal agencies is that post-award grant management support. We know so much of that is critical to make sure that projects can actually be executed. And that capacity is really important to support. The big crux with our funding here is that there must be a federal hook to any of the projects where communities are seeking assistance through this program. By what I mean by that is that there are two avenues. One is the pursuance of federal dollars. So knowing that there are opportunities for funding coming from different agencies, there could also be a congressional earmark or congressionally directed spend that a community is aware that they've worked with their congressional offices to get through. So that's one avenue. The other is the receiving of federal dollars. I know many communities out there have in the last few years received federal funding from Washington, especially when legislation such as the bipartisan infrastructure law passed and certain discretionary funds went to the states. But again, some communities have that award, but it's that second step to actual implementation. So you can use these dollars from our program for any projects that have received federal funding, and again, projects that are in pursuance of federal dollars. Very importantly, these dollars that are coming from us, we have no clawback mechanism on this. In fact, we want you to have this money, even if in the competition to get funding from Washington, if you aren't awarded, we sort of think of it as great. Well, we want you to get the funds, but we want you to still do the work that is necessary for the next time around, potentially for opportunities from Washington. So there's no clawback mechanism when it comes to um, giving these awarded dollars to projects in pursuance of federal funds. I want to just make sure that's very clear. We have established a process here at FFIO, along with our colleagues in the Administration and Finance Office, um, in terms of reviewing applications that come in and selecting successful applicants or awardees. We're very excited that we will soon be announcing our first wave of awarded projects relatively soon, and we are accepting applications through the end of fiscal year 2027, though I try and say, you probably shouldn't submit an application on June 1st of 2027. Good to get it in a little bit earlier. And that application, and I'll in a few slides, have the link to our application. But that application is very easy. We believe that folks can fill it out in about 20 minutes or so, maybe 30 minutes if folks need to be detailed. It's really the who, what, when, where, and what the requested amount is. We want to know what the project is that you're working on that is meaningful for your community, where there may have been a gap in terms of thinking about certain technical needs. And what we really need to know is just what that federal hook is. Did you receive a grant from the Federal Highway Administration? Are you pursuing dollars from the EPA? And then letting us know what your need is. What's very important too is giving us sort of a sense of project scope. What are these dollars going to be used for? Are you going to hire a consultant? Are you needing this for doing planning or design? Is this going to be about supporting post-grant management? So just a little bit of a detail for us. And of course, we are happy to meet with folks before they submit an application, just to kind of answer basic questions. And then if we have questions on our end, we reach out to get clarification and other sorts of information we might need while reviewing applications. So again, this is a competitive direct funding, discretionary fund from FFIO. And we are really excited to see a big breadth of different types of projects that are coming through applications. People are seeking tax assistance. Some people are seeking help with hiring a consultant firm. Some need technical advising around brownfields and other sort of environmental needs. And certainly, if there are questions about whether anything is germane to our program, folks should reach out. I will provide in a few slides to go our contact information, and certainly through Mary and Paul, happy to be connected with anyone that might have some follow-up questions. If you want to go to the next slide, which is about our technical assistance grants for the regional planning agencies, because I want to be a good guest of OCPC here and give them some shout outs about the funding that we're working with them. So that same legislation provided us the ability to provide funding to the RPAs when it comes to technical assistance that they provide on projects that have a federal hook. And we're very excited that all 13 RPAs in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts have signed up for this program. And again, like the other program, it allows folks to, at the RPAs, provide the technical assistance that they do, but enhance that if necessary. So, for example, if OCPC needs to hire additional staff, they can do so with our TARPA dollars. They can support grant applications from communities such as yours for federal opportunities, help with project development and implementation support, such as project scoping and financial analysis, as well as planning and feasibility studies and cost benefits analysis. So we have actually finished our process of accepting applications here, because there are only 13 eligible entities. And again, all 13 have signed up. And that particular funding pot has $2 million that is being dispersed to the RPAs over the next 2 years, $1 million per year. So I want folks to think about these two programs as twins, complementary twins, in terms of the opportunities that we have to support communities out there. We definitely want you to work with your RPAs. They get funding through us to help with these federal projects, but also in order for certain communities to seek funding from the federal government, we also have that other program, the Municipal and Tribal Technical Assistance Program, which is direct funding for technical assistance needs. So the next slide has our application link, as well as the link to our general TA site on our website. Or it has all the information there. I am certainly hopeful that we can connect with more communities that are out there. I know we're getting word out there and we're seeing a good amount come in, but we definitely want to see more communities apply. We still have a lot of money that is there, that the legislature, that you, the people who have authorized us to put money out there to support infrastructure dollars. We want you to use those dollars. So I will stop there. That's the bulk of my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions. Also happy to go back to any slides if that would be helpful. And I thank you again for this opportunity to speak with you all.
Rafi, that was really helpful, the overview as well. Just on the regional planning element, what we applied for, just so folks who know from our region, back in 2018, we was the last time we had a regional policy plan, and we had pursued some federal funding to update it, but we did not get funded. We are using the funds to, in fact, looking at Lori Muncy and Don Sullivan and Paul, to in fact update that regional policy plan. Why it's so important, because everything since COVID has really changed, and how we're functioning and how we're working, and so important that we're able to have that regional element to be working with our 17 communities as well as our other regional planning agencies. So we are thankful to the FFIO office, Rafi, and others, because it really has been important for us. We've been looking for funding to accomplish this, and I think in the long run, it really will be benefiting all. I don't know, I can't see if there's any questions, Megan, or if there's anybody else, but okay.
I was wondering, we recently completed a federally funded water study for the region. Would this
Mhm.
money be available to do some of the implementation strategies from that?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yep.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Mhm,
Don?
Yeah, so I have a couple of questions. Hi, Don Sullivan, Economic Development Director. Relative to the MTTA program,
mhm.
what's the process for that? Would the town, would we work with the town to put together the TA, the application? And who submits that, us or the town?
Yep. So in this case, it can be the RPA or the municipality. We tend to prefer that the municipality submit itself, but certainly OCPC can work with the municipality to put it together. But
Sure.
certainly, if OCPC feels that they need to submit on behalf of the municipality, that is fine too. We just want to know at the end of the day, where these dollars are going to. And again,
Sure. Mhm.
they are intended for the municipalities, or they can go to the RPAs.
Right, okay. And so you said there was no funding limit on that. It was 2.5 million over 2 years, right?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we have not put a sort of cap on how much folks can ask. We definitely wouldn't want people to ask for all 2.5 million, but we want to
Sure.
allow folks to have that flexibility
You
because
can't
there are
take all
different
2.5
types of
million?
projects. I'm sorry.
Okay,
No, he was, Don was saying you could, we could,
we can't take all 2.5 million?
Don, I
Oh
think
no.
has a, I think has
Well,
a
I don't
plan
know
of
if our
how.
friends in the other part of the Commonwealth would
Yeah,
be
I-
that's
so
okay.
happy about that.
So
But yeah,
can
no, I
you,
hear what you're saying.
okay, can you clarify what do you mean by tax assistance? Can you give us a little more detail on what you mean by that?
Sure, sure. So, there are a number of projects that are eligible for federal tax credits, especially in the energy sector. They require a lot of intricate knowledge of the tax code with the federal government and energy projects. And actually, there are certain firms that are out there that work with municipalities. So, what MTTA dollars can be used for is for a municipality or other qualified entity to use those funds to either um, reimburse themselves from contracting with such a tax specialist, or if they want to use those dollars to go to a tax specialist and pay for those services. So that's an example of the type of tax assistance that we mean.
Okay. And so I'm just thinking out loud here, so, I guess we would probably do a lot of work with the one-stop program if we need to put applications together on behalf of municipalities. And also if those municipalities receive money, that we could do some of the implementation strategies to do project administration and grant administration on behalf of the municipalities, because a lot of those communities don't have the capacity to do that.
Right,
So
right.
we certainly could do that as well as many of the other services that you would find eligible under your program, so. Yeah,
Right,
good
right.
information, and that's all I have for the moment.
Thank you. No, and that's what I love about the two programs is that they really complement each other,
Mm.
and can actually enhance that relationship that you all have with the different communities that are out there in your jurisdiction. And if you need that extra amount of money to support even outside of Mary. I know you said you have sort of your focus area on the TARPA dollars. If OCPC is like, hey, we need to support Hanson with a certain application, and that's going to require a certain amount of money, you all can apply for MTTA too
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Hanson's behalf for that purpose.
That's helpful. I know that
Mhm.
there's some comments in the chat, just,
Mhm.
I cannot read them because I brought the wrong glasses.
I can read them.
Thank you,
Um,
Megan.
From Charlie Seelig, what exists in terms of a searchable catalog of grants for which municipalities are eligible, for instance, major repairs or capital improvements for libraries? pedestrian crosswalk signaling, construction of new sidewalk, improvements for parks, playgrounds, and recreation areas, small bridges and culvert crossings, solar panels, and parking lots.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, we have an actual tool that we're working on here at FFIO. We're almost ready to publish it. It's called Grantwell, and it is exactly what this person is asking for, which is a database of the federal grants.gov website, where using sort of an AI search tool, one can put in exactly, I'm looking for funding around bridges, or I need sidewalk repair. And the tool brings up the relevant notice of opportunity of funding, whether it's open for applications or in future it will be. That tool is called Grantwell, and we will be publishing information about it hopefully soon. I don't want to put a direct timeline on it yet because I'm actually not on the team that's working on it right now. But my understanding is it's going to be soon, and we'll definitely communicate with you all. We'll reach out to Mary and her team to make sure that's available. In the
Yeah,
interim, there
I
is
was gonna say,
grants.gov.
I could see that as being very helpful to the
Yep.
communities, I mean, really helpful.
So
Yep.
just to add to that, so Charlie, this is your question, so under the business assistance program that you got some money through
One stuff. Oh, no, earmark.
earmark money, chapter 268, Act of 2022. We actually did a resource guide that covers, if not all, many of those programs where you can seek funding for. I don't know if that was sent to you in the reams of data and emails that Nick had probably sent to you while we were doing all those tasks under that particular contract. But we do have a resource guide that has all local, state, federal
We'll-
program in that.
Send that over to you, Charlie, and then we'll, as Rafi was saying too, when the grant well comes active, we'll be promoting that in our newsletter.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
cross-reference,
So
yeah, that with our resource guide.
is there another question? Nope, all set. Rafi, I think what would be helpful in, if we could share your contact information, I know on the
Yes.
website, but if, Megan's gonna put it in the chat for folks, so.
Yep.
Oh, there it is. Thank you, Megan. I don't have my
Perfect.
right
Yeah, and
glasses.
I was gonna say also, folks should feel free to reach out to us at FFIO, myself, and if it's not me that knows an answer to a specific question, I am on a wonderful team of experts, and certainly what we like to say is if our office doesn't know, we go off and find. We really feel like there's no wrong door in terms of coming to us around any question, frankly, around state government, but certainly if it's germane to federal funding opportunities, we do our best to get the information we can. We see this also as a learning opportunity for ourselves, so there's no curveballs to us. We love hunting down information, and we really want to be a resource to you all out there. So please don't be shy about reaching out. Email me anytime, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from you all.
Well, we appreciate, Old Colony Planning Council appreciates all of the staff and the work of the FFIO office. I highly recommend, joining those, information meetings on a monthly basis. I still find out information that I thought I knew and I didn't know. So we'll share that. We have a newsletter that comes out twice a month. And if you're not on it, Charlie Seelig, I know, is on it. We will, continue to share, that information out along with the recording and the PowerPoint presentation today. So Rafi, once again, thank you. And to the attendees, thank you. And we look forward to seeing more of projects come from the Old Colony Planning Council region. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rafi, we'll follow up with you.
Okay. Sounds
Okay,
good.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Extended.